Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. I've got some really exciting charts to share with you guys about Ethereum. I was so excited to make this chart because I'm noticing almost the exact same market cycle playing out as 2015 Bitcoin. There's a reason why I've came up with my price targets for Ethereum and why I have them so high over the next couple of years, and a lot of people have doubted my analysis. But today I'm going to be diving in, sharing with you guys exactly why I believe that Ethereum is going to be one of the best performing altcoins and why it is going to lead the altcoin market heading forward. If Ethereum dies, all of your guys' favorite altcoins are going to die along with it, and I think that that's what nobody seems to understand. Ethereum has been the best performing altcoin in history aside from Bitcoin, and that's why I have such large exposure inside of this crypto. Make sure you guys stay all the way to the very end because all of these charts that I'm going to share with you are going to perfectly explain my perspective, and I don't want you guys to miss out on any of the details because what is going to happen is seriously going to be life-changing. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. If you guys are looking to join a Discord community, I have a server with over 4,000 members and it's growing super rapidly. I have a lot of people in here congregating and talking about crypto, so if you're somebody that wants to share your own perspective as well as just talk to some of the other people inside of the community, I highly recommend that you guys join the Discord server by clicking in the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link. Now once you guys have access, I do also offer some of my more exclusive content like my video course and signals. So if you're somebody that wants to learn how to actually profit inside of this market, you want to learn all of the skills needed to actually be profitable and be day trading inside of this market, you guys are definitely going to want to check out the video course. It's 20 educational videos that teach you guys all of my personal strategies for which I use to profit inside of this crypto movement. Now, if you guys are actually wanting to copy my own long-term analysis, the signals are definitely the way that you guys are want to go for that. Now, the signals are all of my long-term portfolio. You guys are going to know exactly what I'm holding, what percentages I've allocated to each, and then when I'm actually going to be taking profits. I also post some of my more shorter term trades, swing trades, margin trades. They're all going to be on here. So if you guys want to actually copy my trades and follow along and profit with me, you guys are definitely going to want to check that out. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for the support. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. What's happening in crypto is very volatile, and I know it's shaking a lot of people out, but I can promise you guys that if you guys hold through this, you keep maintaining your positive perspective, eventually a year or two down the line, we're going to be taking those profits and we're going to be sitting there with perfect financial freedom in which we all seek for ourselves. With all that being said, let's go right into this video today. So to start off this video, we're going to be taking a look at a couple charts that I had drawn here, and then we're going to be diving into the shorter term analysis inside of Ethereum so we can know exactly what I'm expecting. Are we going to see more downside, or is this the bottom? I'm going to be going through all of this today, so make sure you guys stay to the very end so you don't miss out on any of this information. Now, this is a tweet that I made on my Twitter. Now, basically, this is something I've been pointing out for a while, but now I think that the similarities are even more identical. Now, basically what my tweet says, the resemblance is uncanny. The resemblance is uncanny. Not holding any exposure to Ethereum will be a big mistake. It's the best performing altcoin in history for a reason. I layered over the final sell-off of 2015 Bitcoin and compared it to the current day Ethereum. The bottom was in January 19th, and I'm going to continue to hold that natural bias because I strongly believe that the lows we saw back at the start of the new year are going to be the new year lows that hold for the length of this consolidation. Now, basically for this chart that you guys maybe don't understand, this chart up here is the Ethereum chart from today, and this black chart here is the last Bitcoin cycle that topped out at $1,200 and went all the way down to about $150. Now, for you guys that maybe don't understand, Bitcoin made this double bottom formation. It capitulated here at about $1.50, rallied up, got rejected, fell to support, rallied once again, got rejected another time, and then we ended up coming all the way back down to retest those lows, and then we ended up impulsing, and then it took us into our next cycle. Now, what I've noticed here, guys, is the fact that Ethereum seems to be following this cycle almost identically. All I did here was label the final sell-off in Bitcoin, and we can see that there's almost an identical price structure. From the last sell-off in Ethereum to the last sell-off in Bitcoin, we see the exact same trend. Here's the top, we sell off a little bit, we get this bear flag, bearish continuation, we sell off for another big low. This is where we start to chop around, get really volatile before making our final stab at lows And then this takes us to the new year. Now, not only are these two correlated based off of price structure, but if you look at the time frames, they're once again almost exact. Both of these charts bottomed almost exactly at the new year, and then they consolidated sideways for a significant portion of time. Ethereum's actually consolidated for about double the amount of time as Bitcoin, which is why I strongly believe that the impulse coming from Ethereum heading forward when we do start breaking out of the cycle high at about $365 is going to happen, and it's going to be very, very big. And so that's why with right now, the market's really volatile, but we're still maintaining these really low price levels. And in my opinion, this is a steal. I don't think that we're going to see much lower values than what we're at currently. And if we do, they won't be long-lived. And so it's very important that we're using this as the opportunity that's been given. Now, this is the next chart that I wanted to share with you. This is going to take the more long-term approach with Ethereum, and it's going to perfectly explain kind of what I expect to have happen. Now, the time frames aren't going to line up perfectly, so if you're looking at the time frames based off this, just don't quote me on that. All I did here was just to try and show you how I expect this next cycle to kind of play out, because this is the way market cycles work. We get an impulse, we start this new parabolic trend, and then we really start impulsing once we break this all-time high mark. And I expect this to be pretty similar. Overall, I think we'll get a little bit more of consolidation here. It is possible we come all the way back down and retest about $80. It's possible that we could retest these primary lows like we did in Bitcoin. So that's not a scenario in which I'm writing off. It's always possible. I'm going to do whatever I can to actually buy that dip if we do get it. But for right now, I'm going to hold through, and I'm going to see what ends up happening. But this is kind of what I'm expecting. It's very similar to what we saw in 2015 Bitcoin. We make the lows, we rally up, get rejected. The same thing happened with Ethereum. We fall, find support, we make another attempt, we get rejected again, and then this is really our final sell-off before we kind of just consolidate here and then break out and make our first higher high on that new macro trend. And that's what I'm going to be watching out for with Ethereum. I think that not only are we very correlated with how market structure looks, but not only that, but the very top of Bitcoin's last cycle was pretty similar based off of price. And let's actually go through here and let's go take a look. So if we go back and take a look at the last cycle, we're going to see roughly the same sorts of correlations here. Now, the price structure is very, very similar. Now, we top up here. Bitcoin topped at about $1,150, whereas Ethereum topped out about $1,400. So there's about a $200 difference, but that's not very much. And then what happens? Ethereum sells off significantly, and the same thing happened with Bitcoin. We sell off, and then we just kind of consolidated sideways for quite some time. And Bitcoin, this was about 280 days. In Ethereum, I believe it's over 400 now. And then we actually start impulsing and creating that next bull trend. And I think that Ethereum is close to being on that point. This is just sideways consolidation and accumulation on that bigger picture trend before finally we are going to see a breakout of about $365. And then that's really going to set us up for a pretty nice rise, in my opinion, right? We'll see something like that, and then we'll continue on in this market cycle. So that's personally what I'm going to be watching out for with Ethereum. I think that with the market cycle being so correlated based off price, Bitcoin topped out at about $1,150. Ethereum was about $1,400. Both of them sold off. Ethereum dropped to about $80, Bitcoin dropped to about $150. So there was a little bit more volatility. I think there was a lot more volatility because of the ICO craze. There was a lot of people taking profits. There was a lot of panic selling going on, and that's why we actually crashed about 94% compared to about 84% here. And so there is going to be a little bit more volatility, but I think that overall, because we are seeing such correlated market structure, we are about to see a next major impulse, and we're going to start this new macro trend. Now, technically, this is a higher high. We bottomed at $80. We never ended up coming back down to retest these lows. So this is a higher high. I would view this more as sideways consolidation, very similar to what we had here. This is more of a horizontal support and resistance channel than it is really a higher high, because this is what I'm watching for. If Ethereum's going to really break out and make an uptrend, I think it'll happen something similar like this, where we will get a confirmed higher high, whereas this is just barely sideways consolidation, right? So that's what I'm watching out for with Ethereum. Now, let's actually dive into a shorter time frame, and let's talk about some things with what I'm thinking moving forward with Ethereum, because I think overall this is going to be very, very crazy. Now, basically, I have drawn here some analysis with Ethereum. This is just the sideways consolidation, and I'm noticing something that's playing out very similar to the last cycle that we had. Basically, when Ethereum bottomed at $80, we consolidated in this ascending triangle. We ended up breaking out, retested that as support, and then we made a big impulse. And you would have made quite a bit of money here. Now, what I've noticed here is the fact that we sold off, we didn't break through support, and so this is still a bullish trend. Now we didn't break through support, and so that's a pretty encouraging sign overall, but we made roughly the same pattern, and that's really what I'm drawing this. This looks like to me like an ascending triangle, which we broke out, and now we're retesting that as support, and so I think that this is going to hold. Realistically, we have this line here that I have drawn at about $155 approximately. I think that as long as this holds, which we could even drop a little bit lower and retest about $143, I think that overall we could very easily be waiting to experience some more continuation that'll take us up to at least 190 and could take us all the way up to about $200. And so that's what I'm going to be watching out for with ETH on a shorter time frame. It might look something like this. We get an impulse, and then from there we could kind of come back down. Maybe we come back down to retest this lower level here before actually continuing on in this trend. And it would look pretty similar to what happened in Bitcoin in 2015. And so that's what I'm going to be watching out for with Ethereum. Overall, I think everything is looking really good. And for an Ethereum holder right now, you got to just be looking at this and being really grateful that you actually do hold so much. Because in my opinion, I don't think that it's likely we're going to sell through the support level. I think it's much more likely that we're going to hold, and so that's what I'm going to be watching out for moving forward. Now, let's actually talk about some more bearish scenarios, because there's always potential for downside, and I want to make sure we're all prepared in the knowing of what that potentially looks like, right? Now, for me personally, we got to sell through $80, obviously, because that was the low that we set. We got to sell through $80. Now, if in fact we do start selling through $80, I think it would happen pretty quick. In my opinion, we would come up to, we could go a little bit higher. Like I said, we could go up to $190 before this happens. But in my opinion, we'd sell off, and then the impulse would break through that level pretty quick. And, we'd come back down to retest this order block all the way down in here. And that's personally what I would watch for with Ethereum. That's going to be the way I'm going to be trading this. If we do sell off, I'm just going to aim to buy the dip. I think that this sell-off will happen really, really quickly if, in fact, we do get a lower low. And so that's just the way I'm going to be watching this moving forward. To me, it would look something like this. This would be a 1. This would be a 3. And then we'd have one more final 5-wave impulse. And this would just be a bigger A, B, C correction, right? And so that's what I'm going to be watching out for. This would just be a little 1 wave in that macro 5 wave. This would just be a 1 wave, be 1, 3, and then we'd have 5 impulse waves down that would take us to, $40 to $50. That's kind of where I'm going to be watching for. That's where I would aim to rebuy the dip if in fact we do go lower. But I don't foresee us going much lower than that. You guys got to remember that if Ethereum sells through support, the rest of your guys' altcoins are not going to fare very well. You got to understand that Ethereum's the best performing altcoin, and it's going to continue to lead that market. And so you guys got to understand that. Because, if we take a look at Ethereum, let's actually go over here. If we take a look at Ethereum dominance, you guys are going to understand that this is literally the altcoin dominance chart inverted. If we go to the Ethereum dominance chart, you guys are going to start to understand that this is literally just the altcoin dominance chart. That's because more money floods into Ethereum than any other asset class that we have that are in cryptocurrencies. And it's because it's the best performing one. In my opinion, because it was the best performing one, there's a high chance that it's going to do that again. And, it doesn't have to be the best performing altcoin based off percentage return, but as far as consistent return with a really high ROI, I don't think you can go wrong with Ethereum. And so, obviously, plan ahead. I do hold some low cap coins that would theoretically give me a higher ROI, but more consistently, Ethereum is going to outperform the market, and it's just going to be consistent gains the entire way up. Now, Ethereum dominance, if you guys look here, we had this major downtrend. We have broken outside of that. And so dominance theoretically should continue to start trending up for Ethereum. This means there's going to be a lot of money entering Ethereum's market cap because, guys, we had declining volume, declining price. That's bullish. The fact that we've broken outside of this descending resistance, that looks like a lot of confirmation to me. So I'm looking forward to what we're seeing. But if we look at Ethereum on the Bitcoin pair, this is what I actually meant to say. This is the altcoin dominance chart. There's literally no difference. This is basically the altcoin dominance. And so, guys, if Ethereum fails, you guys already know what's going to happen to the rest of your altcoins because there's more money in Ethereum than any of those other ones. There's more money propping up the value of these other cryptos because they all, the way it works, Bitcoin will pump. Bitcoin tops out, all that new money that entered Bitcoin will start to leave, and it'll trickle into Ethereum first, and then from Ethereum all the rest of the way down. It's just a hierarchy. It's like a pyramid, guys. Ethereum is at number 2 of that hierarchy behind Bitcoin, and then you got like XRP and stuff like that, right? Now, Let's drop it to a shorter time frame and let's look at some things here. Let's take it off log scale. Let's take a look. Now, for me, this is the support level that we're watching for. Or the support box, I should say. This goes from about 0.22 Ethereum down to about, this goes from about 0.226 Ethereum to 0.22 Ethereum. And so that's where I'm going to be watching for. I think realistically, if we can get a bounce off of here, that's going to set us up for more upside, and we could very easily see continuation coming. But if we break through this level, we get a rejection, I would personally be looking for shorts on the way down, because I think that you would make a decent amount of money swing trading that back down, because in my opinion, it would be a pretty big sell-off, and it would see us go all the way back down to about here. This is where I would personally be watching for, anywhere to about right there. I think that's about a 0.1 ratio, somewhere right there. That's where I'd be watching for. But realistically, guys, we got a couple options. If we can hold support here, I think that there's a good opportunity for a swing trade on the upside. We could even come all the way back to about a 0.35 pair. If in fact we start to drop below this level, we get rejected. Zoom in a little bit. If we drop below this level at about 0.22, we get rejected. I would personally be looking for shorts, because that would be a pretty strong drop on the way down. So there's a lot of ways to make money right now. No matter how volatile the market is, the volatility is the best sign, because we can make a lot of money trading that. And so for me, I don't really care what happens to Ethereum, because if it goes down, I'm going to short it. And if it goes up, I've already accumulated a significant portion of my long terms. I got a lot of money invested in Ethereum. And so, you know, I'm going to be good regardless. But the best thing to do, guys, is if we are showing short-term weakness here in a Bitcoin Ethereum pair, it's a good opportunity to hedge your investment by taking some shorts. And so that's why I'm going to be playing off Ethereum. But to me, I think we're close to the terminal end of the correction. Whether the terminal end was already at these lows from September, or whether we go for one more low, it does not matter. I believe that we're very close to seeing that. And that's why we need to just sort of plan ahead. Now, to wrap up this video, let's go through and actually talk about Bitcoin, because there's a lot of things I wanted to cover here. I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page, because it is Monday. I'm going to start putting the Bitcoin analysis at the end of the videos, because I know people care to see the Bitcoin analysis, but I know a lot of people actually care to see the altcoin analysis as well. And so I'll save Bitcoin for the end for you guys that are watching me. If you want to see the analysis, just wait till the end of the video. Now let's drop it to a shorter time frame here. Let's talk about some things that are happening. Now, what I've been watching for personally, and what I've posted inside of my group on Discord, was that I see the potential for a head and shoulder. A lot of people are drawing this. And so this is something we need to watch out for. This was a pretty ugly rejection that we saw. Now, that rejection also came after we sold through the trending support level. You can draw it however you want. But either way, this looked like a clean rejection on the way down. Now, it isn't completely bearish yet. We haven't sold through support. And so let's talk about some things here, so we can know exactly kind of what to expect moving forward. Now for me, support's about right here, a little bit higher, about 6,600, just a little bit over. If we sell through this level, it's going to be confirmed that we're most likely going to drop to about 5,800, because that would personally be the target of this head and shoulder. From the base, or from the head to the neckline. Oops. Let's drop it down. That would take us to, 5,800, about right perfectly there. And so that's personally what I'm going to be watching out for with this. But the thing is, guys, we've got to sell through this level. If we don't sell through this level, then it's likely we're going to get a bounce. Now, for me, this is a level that I'm watching, and we are technically above this. This is about 67.90. For me personally, let's actually just make this an even number. And let's just call this 6,800, right? So 6,800, this is the level that I'm watching. If we close below this level, I'm expecting more downside. But if we can get a close above 6,800, in my opinion, we're going to see a bounce. And we're most likely going to bounce. I wouldn't be surprised if we bounced all the way back up to this resistance up here. That's what we got to watch out for. And so with the Bitcoin on a short term, it is looking volatile. One thing I want to point out here is we have had declining volume and inclining price since the entirety of this correction up. And so obviously that's bearish. That doesn't look extremely good. But it's also not the end of the world, and it doesn't mean that we have to crash. Just because there is no volume doesn't mean we have to crash. What I've been updating you guys with is I've personally been watching for a little bit of a bigger correction. Now, if we fail to break below this level here at about 6,800, and then we fail to break through, 6,666, that's the level I'm watching. If we fail to break through either of those two levels, then it's most likely going to set us up for another leg higher that'll take us to 8K, and that's what I'm going to be watching out for. Bullish scenario, we don't break through support, we get another leg higher that's going to take us closer to about 8K, and then from there, that's personally where I'd be looking for shorts. Probably not directly at 8K, because I think that's where the majority of people are going to look, but maybe about 8,400, 8,300, right above here. That's where I would look. Maybe you could catch a wick, and that's just a good entry point for me. There's not a whole lot of risk involved with me taking a trade right there, so that's what I'd be watching out for. But realistically, eventually we're going to see a correction. Now, what I'm watching for is a correction that can either happen roughly where we topped at 74.50, or we get one more leg higher. Either way, I am expecting a bigger correction, and when that bigger correction happens, there's a couple scenarios that I'm watching for. Now, if we pull up the Fibonacci, let's kind of see some levels here. Now, the 618 fib takes us to about, $5,200, $5,200 to $5,300. That's going to be the 618. I think it's possible that we could actually dip all the way back down there, and we could see, the potential for an Adam and Eve bottom formation, right? That's something, I see a lot of these drawn everywhere. Most likely it's not going to play out like that because there is so many people that are watching for that. But I've personally been telling you guys that I was expecting a correction. I said that we'd rally up towards this resistance, eventually we'd start to sell off, and we would have to confirm this uptrend by retesting some of these lower support levels. And so that's what I'm going to watch out for with Bitcoin. Realistically though, if we do get another impulse and we go up to about 8K, then I think that's going to set us up for a bottom at about $6,500. And I don't think that we'd have to go all the way back down to retest, below 6K. It seems unlikely to me. Seems a little bit more unreasonable if we do already impulse up so high. I think that we would hold at that New Year's support, which would be about right here, right? That's what I'm going to be watching out for. But for me, guys, I think it's really bullish. If we drop it to a weekly time frame, actually, I'll just show you this chart because I already have it drawn. This is some analysis that I made here. Basically, every single top or bottom of a major reversal in Bitcoin has a volume outbreak. And we saw at the top here, we saw this at the bottom here, saw this at the top of 14K, and now we saw another one at the bottom here at this trending support. And this is the way I'm labeling this correction. I think this is a big triangle correction before we see massive upside. It is very possible that we could break out on this D wave and see impulsing up to this all-time high mark. Or we could actually reject, about 10K approximately, fall back down to retest this trending support another time, and then we could break out. But this is what I'm going to be watching out for. I really like the volume profile that we're seeing here. This is showing potential for a reversal. So I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page together. This is the analysis I had for you. Wanted to dive deep with what I'm expecting with Ethereum here. This is the bearish scenario. I'm not leaning towards this bearish scenario. I think this support level at $80 is going to hold. We're going to hold the new year. Because obviously, guys, if Bitcoin starts going up, and Bitcoin holds support very bullishly, then you guys already know what's going to happen to the rest of the altcoins. And so for me personally, this to me, if we go through here and label the way it's working, so this was our top, we sold off and made lower lows. This was a higher low, and this is a higher high from the lows that we saw here. And so we could very easily be starting the first macro uptrend in this new cycle. And so this could be the first impulse, and that's kind of what I've been updating you guys with. I personally think that support's going to hold from $3,200, the lows that we saw at December. I don't think we're going to break through those. Obviously, there's bearish scenarios, and I've updated you guys with those targets for what I'd be expecting to see if, in fact, we did go lower. But anyways, this is the video I had for you. If you guys found any value in this, always remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Just wanted to make sure that you guys know exactly what I'm personally thinking, how I'm going to be trading this market. I'm going to be looking to swing trade this market because I do like the volatility that we're seeing. But realistically, guys, if gold keeps impulsing like this, there is a correlation between gold and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is following gold. And so if if gold continues to hold strength, I don't see why Bitcoin isn't going to. I mean, you guys, to just wait for more downside, you're basically betting against the Fed, and that's what I don't get. If the Fed's just going to be printing a ton of dollars, then obviously the price is going to be going up. Whether it actually translates to real wealth and you creating real wealth, or if it's just inflation, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, we're going to see prices go up regardless. Now, obviously, we want Bitcoin to outperform inflation so we can make money, but regardless, I think that price is going to go up. Guys, we're less than a month away to this halving. It's been a big catalyst for the last 8 years that we've been riding in these market cycles. I don't see why it's just going to stop now. I'm going to continue to ride that trend and just see what happens. But thank you guys so much for the support. With all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.